Hello, it is Katie and Erica. Erica
Hi.
is Buffalo, and she is an artist. She's creative in so many ways, so intelligent about different elements, crystals, fairies, plants, and human psychology as well. Erica, what do you want to share about yourself? What do you want people to know?
Well, I wanted to share with my something for myself that ever since I was maybe like really, really young, like I could say a baby, I was always interested in knowing more about nature and what it holds because I know that it doesn't hold just the animals that we know and just the creatures that we know because the brain is not powerful enough to create something out of midair because we're always used to base ourselves into something that we have seen. So I started getting more into witchery, learning Wiccan traditions, learning what they believed in, and seeing that they believed in nature and in loving yourself and loving what created you, being thankful to the universe, to the souls that have brought you here. That was the world that I wanted to live in. And I started getting more into learning about mermaids and crystals and different plants. I started learning about all enchanted creatures and what benefits they have towards a human and how they treat humans. And of course, enchanted creatures are much more fragile when it comes to being emotional creatures because humans consider them as fake or that they do not exist, which results to them being more aggressive, let's say, towards our species, towards humans. Um, and I believe that every creature does something because of something.
Mhm.
Meat eaters such as lions or all the cat family or the dog family. I think the reason that they eat meat is because their organs are shaped in such a way that allows for the meat to be consumed much easier. Whereas humans, they can eat meat because, of course, we're known to eat everything plants, meat, but we cannot eat the same amount of meat as animals do because they're built in a sort of way that helps them, let's say, take that meat out much quicker than our body is.
Yeah.
But today I really wanted to talk about fairies.
You feel like a fairy. You're a fairy for me. You're magical. And every time we talk, you bring this sparkle and this creativity to my world, and your art is beautiful. How do you feel like a fairy, or what do they do for you, Erica?
So the reason that I love fairies so much, all what they do to humans aside, they're one of the most loving creatures when it comes to having emotions towards themselves. They're some people say that fairies are, let's say, ugly, but with paganism, fairies are known to be the most beautiful things you'll ever see in a forest, if you ever get to see them. Um, of course, there are some rules that you have to abide. Just like with Animalia, you should not trigger some things, or else the animal is going to attack you. And the same as with fairies, they have their own rules that you need to abide. But those rules aside, they're very loving and they bring a lot of good luck. Um, so I'm going to start with the positive things that fairies bring into the human life. Fairies bring more adventuristic feelings in the human because they're teaching a human that everyone has their ups and downs and you should respect that. They also bring a lot of education to the human mind because you cannot call upon fairies unless you are very mentally stable and unless you are very strong emotionally and mentally to abide their rules and to abide your own rules that you have to provide for yourself.
Mm.
They also bring a lot of happiness and joy. One of the problems that may cause you to feel unbalanced, they can actually really help you into surpassing those. You just have to ask nicely. And I am
Sige. Përshëndetje.
Përshëndetje. How are you, Katie? Are you fine?
Tani më bën për të qeshur, të dua
Oh,
shumë.
po jam disponim se kam hec natyrë shumë Prizren. Me u grounding.
Perfect.
Më falë se ju pengova.
Jo,
Ju
ta bëj për të qeshur edhe
Hajde. Zemër ju falë.
mirë pafshim.
So you have to be very mentally and emotionally stable to contact with fairies, or in paganism, they used to call them the Fae. Now, these people tend to call these things negatives. I tend to call them, um, more educative when it comes to these things that you need to abide. So when you want to say thank you to a fairy, you cannot just say thank you. You have to say, I'm very glad from the service that I got from you. Or I'm filled with joy from the service that I got from you. There are many ways, but just saying a thank you offends them because they did so much and you didn't help them enough in order for you to just end all of them with a thank you. When you also need to, if you don't want to contact the Fae, when you're not ready and you see just a small little gift on your doorstep, and you're still not ready, it's not really well to work with the Fae when you're not strong emotionally, because they don't understand human emotion. They understand their emotions and the forest's emotions, but they do not understand the human's emotion, because we have gone so into our minds that all of our senses have been lost. And the senses that we once had, they're not gone, but they're hidden somewhere.
Right.
So you should not accept that gift unless you are actually ready and you know all of the things that you have to say and do to not trigger them. Fairies are also known to make a lot of things out of leaves, out of flowers, and they're each divided in sections. We have mushroom fairies, we have flower fairies who are divided into all types of flowers. We have working fairies. We have all these things that we see in our world, in our nature, in a forest, or close to a lake. All of those have a fairy that is in charge of them, that is in charge of taking care of them.
How do you know all of this? This is
I
incredible.
started getting so much into paganism and learning more and more, seeing these really old, beautiful notes about all of this world. And it came to the point where I felt butterflies every time I read these things. And I only feel butterflies when I'm reading something that my body agrees with and that my body thinks that, yes, this is true. And I have so many journals with witchery and with all of these creatures that they saw and believed in. And all Wiccans, they were women, they were female, they were not humans, but they took the form of a woman, of a female human, which shows the power of how powerful we are.
Right.
And they accepted their faith way before it had to happen, because they knew that humans were going to misinterpret their powers. Humans were going to misinterpret everything that they did. So they accepted the faith of being executed.
My whole body's in chills right now. That's when I know I was speaking truth. Yes.
So it's very deep if you think about it, because they accepted something long before it happened,
Right.
which goes to show that humans need to accept all of the ups and downs that happen in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Because witches were known to exist way before medicine was made, but they were known to have existed at the time when medicine first started being tested.
Right.
So they wanted to help humans realize that you do not need antibiotics to cure yourself. Because if we divide the word antibiotics, we have anti,
Mm-hmm.
which means against, biotics, against nature, against biology. You are going against nature to help your body. But instead of giving it benefits, the benefits are only going to be there for a short amount of time. Afterwards, there are a lot of side effects.
You're right.
But a lot of home remedies that us in Kosovo do, or many people outside of Kosovo do, home remedies to cure, let's say, a sore throat, they were firstly made by paganism, by Wiccans.
Mm-hmm.
And Halloween, that is known as the Day of the Devil, it was taken from paganism because paganism hated demons.
Mm-hmm.
And Halloween wasn't named Halloween, it was actually named the Day of the Herbs, where they would take all of the crops that they had during all of their years, they would prepare it and put it at the graves of people that have passed away without maybe saying their last goodbye.
Right.
But um, religion took that and twisted it into a form where they made it the Day of the Devil. So this went from helping those souls finally say goodbye to their loved ones
Mm-hmm.
to telling them that they were trying to contact with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to fairies, and a lot of paganism writings that you can find if you search deep enough in Google, because Google is free and you can search anything there. If you get to learn about fairies, you'll see that fairies have a very deep fear of negative emotions.
Because it's not of their world. It's a
It's not part of their world.
connection.
They're not used to feeling angry. They're not used to feeling envious. They are not used to feeling sad.
Mm-hmm.
And humans, they have raised themselves into learning all of these emotions because they didn't want to understand someone else's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
They only thought that this is my way, and it is either my way or the highway. So they have a very, very, very deep fear of negative emotions, of spite,
Mm-hmm.
of revenge. They only are vengeful if you destroy something that they really love. For example, if they have a circle of mushrooms, you should not step in that circle of mushrooms because that is their portal, that is their world. And I think of it this way: you have your world. You wouldn't like someone who doesn't understand it to step into it because they wouldn't understand a flying teapot that would roam around your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't be vengeful other than they would feel as if you're not respecting them. And they would teach you a lesson of what happens if you don't respect someone's, let's say, personal space.
Right.
But what fairies love, they love when people dance, they love when people show themselves to the world and they do not feel shy whatsoever. They do not feel embarrassed of what they're doing whatsoever. They love seeing a person not be afraid to show themselves because it reminds them of themselves. No fairy judges another fairy for their job, let's say, for their work. A water fairy doesn't judge a mud fairy
Hmm.
because they know that they have to function together if they want the nature to function properly.
Yes.
And they're beautiful creatures to learn about because you learn a lot about yourself while learning about them. But when it comes to working with them, I would suggest to have a friendly relationship with them rather than asking them favors.
Right. How do you start a healthy relationship with a fairy?
Let's say that you have found some flowers, some leaves, calmly put on your doorstep. Because if it's wind, it's going to be either here or here, but fairies tend to put them right in the middle.
Hmm.
Whether it's a crystal, whether it's leaves, or just a small rock, they take things from nature to gift them to you. And people think that that is because they want to mess around with you. And yes, they like messing around, but it isn't because of that.
Hmm. They're playful.
It is because they liked you, they liked your appearance, and how you become friendly with them if you're strong enough mentally. You are going to take, let's say, that gift, not put it inside the house, but say, I am joyful that I gave you a good impression of myself.
Right.
And you calmly and slowly put it at the place where it was. Because you're letting that fairy know that I know that it's you. And I'm very happy that you liked me, that you liked my presence, and that you thought that I was a nice person. Because as I said, they are afraid of negative emotion and they do not like people who are vengeful, who are rude, who are mean or shallow. They like people who are happy, who are loud when it comes to laughing or talking about something fun, people who express themselves without being afraid of being judged. They love free. They love humans who are free. So they give you that gift. And if you are not ready to work with them, and if that would happen to me, I would tend to most likely have a friendship with them than work with them
Hmm.
because I do not want to be a boss nor a servant. So I would suggest to people that are just getting into learning about this type of stuff, if a fairy gives you a gift and you think that you're ready, I would much highly suggest to befriend them and to thank them that they liked you than rather have benefits from them.
Hmm. It's such a subtle relationship. It's very respectful. Sounds like we can learn from them in how we behave as humans.
And fairies have a very short fuse. So if you, let's say, are curious to touch their tree house or something, they will not like that. And just like Tinkerbell, who is always stuck up when people don't listen to her,
Mhm.
they're immediately going to take charge and tell you, please don't touch my house. I don't like that. I don't want anything bad between us. Just don't touch it. So basically, they have their own space. But
Yes.
if they like you, they're going to give you gifts as a sign of, hi, I really like you. And you gave me a very good impression.
Right.
It's so, it's such a beautiful world to learn about.
Yes. Is there a book you recommend or a YouTube?
There are many books. I usually tend to read from notes that I find. I have a full folder filled with notes that I have taken, and I have a journal where I wrote about all of this type of stuff. Where I wrote about zodiac signs and all of the witchery, all of the wheels, all of the symbols.
Amazing.
I'm actually going to get it right now because it's something beautiful to.
Yes, I would love to see it. And it sounds like this could be a book that you publish. I would love to read your notes and people can learn from them. I know there's a lot of stuff online. Like I've learned different things just by Googling about fairies, looking at pictures of them. I have felt happier just by looking at pictures of fairies. I notice that sometimes when I'm feeling low or depressed or sad, I'll go on Google and look up pictures of crystals or fairies and I'll start feeling better.
And one thing, how you give a good impression as well to the fairies, they don't go by looks. But if they do, they will choose the people that think they resemble them.
Mhm.
So not only do they choose you for your personality, they choose you because they think that you resemble them. And they want to let you know that you're doing good and we don't want you to stop
Mm,
because this is how it should go.
yes, that just
So
makes me so happy because they've come into my life so many times. So that feels good.
this is my journal.
Wow. I like it. Cheers.
um, this is the first page of my journal.
Wow, you drew that, right?
hmm
That's
All
so
of the
beautiful.
drawings that are in here were drawn by me. And then here we have the month, so the calendar.
Amazing. It's so
And
vivid.
so here in the crystal page, in the third page of my journal, I wrote about types of crystal shapes. So we have tumbled, which is more ovally at the tips. So let's say this is a tumbled shape.
Right. Yes.
Um, and they even out your energy.
Right, because they're smooth. So it smoothens out.
Then we have raw, which is a gritty texture, and they give you a lot of strong feelings, positive feelings about yourself, and they give you a lot of positive energy for yourself. They change the way that you look at yourself in the mirror. So I have another crystal. It's an amethyst, and that has a raw shape to it. It's a necklace. So it gives me a lot of calm but strong positive emotions about the way I view myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the sphere. The sphere also evens out energy. So we're seeing a pattern here. When we have smooth textures, they are going to help you even out yourself. Because let's take that as human form. If something is going smoothly, you feel well. If your job is going smoothly, you feel happy.
Right.
So the smooth textures help you even out your energy
Yes.
and they remove negative energy from everywhere. So whether it's a friend that you're questioning or a lover or a family member, they're immediately going to take them away.
Okay.
They're either going to distance them from you for a short amount of time or for a long period of time. They can even take them out of your life because that crystal sees that your soul doesn't enjoy it. Your mind may enjoy their company, but your soul doesn't.
Okay.
Then we have pyramids. Pyramids are known to keep you focused and are known to help you manifest much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a cluster. Now I'm going to have to show the cluster. It is this one right here.
Yes.
So a bundle of crystals together that radiates all of your energy throughout the room.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a positive energy, you may not be speaking at all, and someone is going to say, I feel so well today.
Okay.
And then we have a geode. Basically, what a geode is when you break a rock and you find crystals jumbled up inside of that rock.
Mm-hmm.
So, a geode is the typical rock of grounding because it's a mix of crystals and a rock. Because on the outside it may look plain, it may look like every other rock you have seen, but if you break it, inside you see all of these sparkly crystals,
Right.
so they help you with grounding. Then we have an abundance, which is a bundle. It is different from cluster because this bundle is very sharp and it attracts wealth and prosperity into your life
Mm-hmm.
because since it's so sharp, it gives the message to the universe that we're ready. I don't need any more time to think. I am ready to decide. And the universe will be okay, here you go.
Right.
Then we have the egg, which is typical with rose quartz. It helps with feeling more calm. It helps with feeling more positive. It helps with healing. And that's a typical rose quartz. And one thing about rose quartz, however, is if someone gifts you a rose quartz, that means that they love you so much. Because rose quartz is known to be the crystal of love,
Right.
to show the love that they have for you. They're giving you their love, hoping that it can heal something that may hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the point, which is how most crystals are being made. So it's basically a rectangle, and in the end, it ends like a pencil. So it has a sharp point to it. It helps you concentrate and direct your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if your energy is saying, I kind of want to go this way, this crystal is going to say stop. There is a dead end. You should go this way. Then we have the generator, probably one of my most favorite forms because I'm a generator in my human design. It is basically um, this one over here. It is this type of shape.
Okay, I see. Yes.
So the generator amplifies and charges you. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling unmotivated, if you're feeling like nothing is working and nothing matters, this generator is just like your phone charger.
Mm-hmm.
You're the phone and this is the charger. And it's going to say, hey, hey, get up. You have lots of energy. You have lots of things ahead of you. You should do them.
Right.
It's as if it's your best friend telling you, don't give up. It's time for you to show yourself.
This is so epic. I've had different crystals of these different shapes and sizes and actually gave them away at one point. They spoke to me so loudly, give me to this person, gift me to this person, or put them in this place. And It came to a point where I had no crystals, and then they started coming to me more energetically. It's like they were saying, "Thank you for listening to us and giving them to where they were needed. And now we're going to work with you spiritually, that you don't even need us physically." So I was able to travel and move around while having their codes, their support just in my aura. And sometimes I would see very clearly for a few days one specific crystal helping me with a dynamic in a relationship or having more focus, and its shape would be a big important factor in it too. So you're absolutely right.
Their energy, there is this one thing that is said about crystals. You don't choose the crystal, it chooses you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tend to buy a crystal just because you want to buy it and you want to have them in your home, they're not going to want to stay because it was your mind deciding to pick them.
Mm-hmm.
But how you know that a crystal is calling you is when you see it and you feel all of these butterflies, or when you hear its name, you feel all of these butterflies. That means that that crystal is telling you, I am for you. Like, pick me, I am for you. Then we have the twin crystals, which is two crystals combined together to make one. They help you with balance. If you're having a tough time in school, they're going to balance out the stuff that are hurting you and the stuff that you are doing to hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to say, okay, these two things are hurting you. So why continue them? If this school, if this teacher, let's say, is hurting you, why continue to allow yourself to get hurt? And this is where my analogy starts, because if someone tells you a really funny joke, you laugh a lot. But if they keep repeating the joke, eventually you stop laughing. So why don't humans do the same when they get hurt? They're getting hurt the same way, and they're crying and hurting the same way as they did the first time. So why stop something that's making you laugh, but not stop something that's hurting you? This is what this crystal does. It tells you, why continue to listen to them when you can listen to you? But if you're not listening to you and you're letting your mind roam and tell you all of the things that they have implemented, why listen to your mind? When these crystals say listen to yourself, they don't mean listen to your brain, because the brain tells you what it has been told. They mean listen to your soul, listen to your guide. And we have the double terminated. It is a soul that a crystal that has a pointy end on both sides, and it helps with absorbing as much positivity as it can and not keep it just for yourself, but allowing it to roam free to other people as well.
Right.
And then we have many others. We have the druzy, which looks like a donut,
Mm-hmm.
but it helps you with relaxation. And we have the now the name, considering what's going on, may seem a little bit strange, but it's called Isis.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that it's called that is because it looks like a diamond. And a diamond looks like an ice cube. but it's not written ICIS or ICES. ISIS.
Okay.
So its name is being used for something so horrid, but its power is something so beautiful because
Yeah.
it provides
And there's the
feminine
goddess
energy.
Isis. There's
Hmm?
the goddess Isis. Have you heard of the goddess
Yeah,
Isis?
I have all of the goddesses as well written, but this crystal helps you with femininity.
Mhm.
It shows you your feminine self. I'm going to show you my. This is where I wrote all of the gods and all of their powers.
Wow, that's beautiful. Did you channel this or did you read about it?
I had known about one goddess named Inanna,
Mhm.
and I heard that she came from a family of other gods. So I said, I want to learn about this. And so I did. And I started learning about, I'm going to tell you all of the gods and goddesses because they don't all want to be jumbled up into just the gods. Gods and goddesses. They are both the same. So with goddesses, we have Brigid, which she's Irish. We have Aphrodite or Venus, she's Greek or Roman. We have Diana, which is Roman. We have Arianrod, which she's Welsh. We have Ardeo, she's Swiss. We have Athena, she's Greek. We have Danu, she's Irish. We have Gaia, she's Greek. Inanna, also known, she comes from Hausa, so West African. We have Juno, Roman. We have Selene, she's Greek. Vesta, Roman. And Silu, she's Turkish.
Every culture has had so many goddesses, and we are the modern day goddesses as well. I sometimes imagine if there was a oracle deck or library of modern day goddesses, there would be so many in all the different cultures because there's always, well, the feminine holding space for everything that's possible in humanity, that is in creation with nature, that is in co-creation with the divine, that is maintaining harmony and different elements like justice or the arts or the home. Perhaps we can do another recording with the goddesses because that's a long topic.
List.
Let's
Yeah,
pause
it's
here.
beautiful.
What else do you want to share as a last thought about the fairies and crystals, Erica?
One thing that I wanted to share is that do not call mystical creatures evil because humans tend to do that because they're playful. The only mystical creature that can come close to being evil are mermaids. But even they have their reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't suggest to call the mystical creatures that help the nature that you are living in be the way that it is. Adore everything that they do because they work very hard. And if you see a gift right in the middle of your doorstep, I would suggest that if you're mentally strong, befriend them. Tell them that you appreciate their kindness and the fact that they thought you were a nice person. Because unlike humans, fairies know when someone is nice without ever having to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
They can read your personality because they can see your aura. It radiates to them. So I would suggest that if you ever see a little gift on your doorstep, and you're mentally prepared and ready, befriend them, just like you would befriend a human. And when it comes to crystals, don't pick your crystals. Let your crystals pick you. You will feel much more calm and happy and free
Mhm.
because it's the crystal that wanted you. I am very happy that I got to do this.
You are amazing. I'm sitting here with so much humility and just admiration for you, Erica, and how much you know, how much you've studied and been dedicated to understanding what is real within these creatures and their dimensions that are not obvious to the human eye, but they are so important to how we exist in this life because they it seems to me that they've existed here before humans did, and they understand the laws of nature and how to coexist and share the environment. And more than ever, we can learn from them so we have better peace with each other.
if humans first need to learn how to have peace with each other, to understand that we're all equal. And once they have peace with each other, they're going to have peace with all of the creatures on this planet.
Yes, I love that. And with that, we'll end the recording. And to be continued, we'll do one about the goddesses.
I can't wait.